Hello and good morning. How's everyone doing? Oh, there we go. Hey Amanda, how are you? Keeping okay with the weather there? So I know in the over yonder it is not as cool while y'all are also having heat. Oh my god, fan, please. And I do have a fan like right on me because we have an extreme heat warning all weekend. Like legit heat warning. So, oh, I can go right back to my house. Yay. How are you, Amanda? Apparently, I've got mail at home. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Oh, that's right. Today is Midsummer. Happy Midsummer. Bless iced coffee. What is that? Why did she send me creepy fish? Hey, Taru. Oh, no. How are you just awake before everyone else, or do you have to be up this early? Good morning. I am excited because I get to see you in 2 weeks. Aww. That's fun, Amanda. Can someone let me know if there are drops showing for you? Oh, I think everything is harvestable. Give me this corn. Oh, my garden is empty, y'all. Oh, are you not ready to harvest? Hey, Dre, how are you? I hope you are keeping cool. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if the drops were for everyone streaming Palia or only Palia partners. Sometimes the drops are only from Palia partners. How goes, Trey? Oh, weeds. Weeds. Why weeds? Ooh, more spicy pepper. So how's everyone doing? Happy Friday. If you are in the US, please stay cool. Because I keep getting extreme heat warning alerts. Little buddy, you're in the way. I don't know what the drops are, though. Like, not off the top of my head. Oh, this bok choy is almost done. Oh, I'm sorry, Dre. Yeah, it's, I keep getting, like, from the city heat warnings. So. Oh my god, don't I have 50 infected essence? Oh. That did not make me a rare apple seed, you bastards. Oof. I have one corn seed? Oh my god. I sound like a legit... What is this? I'm also trying to make preserves for money in the game. Keep clicking on the wrong... No, that's not the one I want. Hey, Black Widow. Good morning. Hope you're keeping cool. Okay, I have a silly question if you play Palia. How the hell do you get more glowworms? Because I have a confusion. Hey, Antiquated. Yeah, I'll probably hop into Dune after my one call today. So, Black Widow. John set me up with the material I needed. And And, I realized, oh, I can't get to the base where he put stuff. Hey, Lethy, how are you? I hope you're keeping cool. I don't know if you're getting the same heat wave a lot of other people are getting. But I was just talking about how I've gotten a heat warning, like, for the whole weekend. Like, literally a heat warning all weekend. Oh, I didn't want the corn. I wanted the corn seed, which I don't have. Like, literally, we have a heat warning with temperature warning up to, like, 100-degree heat index. So yeah, I had to build a bike, and John left me materials to make the tier 2 bike. Except I need a bike to get to the base where he made them. So I made a MK1 bike, but then I was just tired and didn't feel like playing, so I will hopefully hop on earlier or later. Although if it's hot as it says it's going to be, I may not want to be at a computer. $26 Celsius, that's like 80 Fahrenheit? 3. I can plant 5 things. Oh, nice. I don't know if you've been on Blue Sky, but I actually was thinking about that today. I don't have a bathing suit that fits. And because I'm in an awkward between sizes place, I don't have anything that fits, but I can't just go out to a store. Because fun fact, if you are not quote-unquote regular sizes, it is impossible to just walk out and buy clothes. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing. Yeah, I may put out a call and see who's around later. I don't know if I'll stream it or if I'll just hop in and hang out. Oh, absolutely, Lethy. What I mean, though, is like, I'm at I'm at what the US considers plus size still, but not the higher size I was. If that's making sense. I'm still at a size where I can't just walk into a store. Weirdly, I've been able to get plenty of jeans and shorts. Those I can order online, but with the swimsuit, I'd rather just buy it. Or try it on if I could. But I'm still having the same... This size fits me, this size doesn't. This size says it's my size, but it's too big. What the fuck? Oh, I absolutely hate jeans. I'm gonna go into the Elderwood from here. Where's the gate? Wait, do I not? Okay. How was the rest of that game you were streaming, Lethy? It was a weird game. Also, if I have a mod, Oh, I need items. Oh, excuse me. Ow, sorry. Ooh, why am I on all caps? Ugh. Dre, have you still been streaming Expedition 33? Rezo Hamik Channer? Oh, nice. I have goggles. I have goggles. I don't have the nose pinchy thing, although I probably should get one. Oh, I can make this. Yeah. Oh, I guess I can just place curtains. Oh, that's a curtain? No, thank you. Hey, Firefly, how are you? Hope you're staying cool. Sorry, I did not realize I was so sniffly. I think it's I'm sitting right under a fan, because it already feels like it's 80 here, and I hate it. Oh, I'm sorry, Firefly. Well, hopefully hanging out here to start your Friday will work. Will help. I need to go hunt 3 infected creatures. Actually, go to this dock instead of running all the way over there. Oh? What? Oh, Jory had this quest. I'm out here just trying to hunt things. Why I gotta get the slime? Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, I really need to I need to party up and go run around with people because I am low on research points. And also materials now after I got hit by the worm again. Yeah, so the other day I had made the weapon that lets you shoot through the shields. And I lost that when I got eaten. And I'm like, cool. That's what I needed. Okay, actual Palia question for people. Does the hunting horn show you where infected creatures are? Or just rare creatures? Because of course now that I need to find an infected creature, I can't find one. Probably. Oh, I should also have a food. Oh, Kongi doesn't give you much of anything. Oh, you're not infected. Dang it. Oh, an infected Ogapoo. Where did you go? Dang it! It ran away. Oh, no, you didn't. You're right in front of me. Fuck! Seriously? Ugh. Yeah, they give you your bike back the first time. Hey, you count as a bug. Come here. Sorry, I know this may not be super exciting, but I've got a quest. Also, just seriously head empty hours right now, since it's hot and I can't sleep. How's everyone doing? Yes, also happy Pride. It is still Pride Month, and we are still raising money for Advocates for Trans Equality. And I did not forget about the giveaway of TTRPG books. I need to go through my books and see what is there for giving away. Oh, I thought that was an essence. And if someone outside the US wins, you've got to chip in on shipping. Oh, okay then. No cave for me. Ads in 3. Ah, dang it. Ooh, essence, hello. So is there anyone in chat who does play Palia? Because I might need help. 1 second. I'm throwing a note in the Palia chat in my Discord if anyone's around. I was throwing a note in my Discord in case anyone is up and around. Hey, Furwick, good morning. Ohio, Kinkita. Well, it's evening for you. I also realize it's like 6 in the morning in the US, so people may not even be up and awake. Yay! Hey, Amalia. Amalia. Wow, my tongue just refused to work for a second. How goes? Oh my god, it's already... It is 6 in the morning. It already feels ridiculously hot. I know what I read. My brain did not let me say what I read. Okay, I'm going to try to find my way out of here. Oh my god, it's so far. I'm gonna actually go back to my house. Yeah, oh hey KMC. Furwick, do you mind giving KMC a shout out as well? Sorry, I'm trying to... Also, I need to put down this infected essence so I don't lose... Well, you don't die and lose stuff. How's your Veilguard going, KMC? I see when you go live when I have insomnia, but I'm usually not awake enough to show up in chat. You're welcome. I mean, you're part of the team. Oop, I did not water this chair, which sounds very odd to say. That I didn't water my chair today. Oh, I need to repair the watering can. Because fun fact, your tools will break if you don't. They will break and go down a level, I discovered. The hard way. Oh, and I'm going to get a honey lure while I'm here. I think I have one. Because they are expansive. Yes, Weishaupt. Weishaupt is a whole thing. I take it you did the cauldron. No, the cauldron's after, I think. I'm so sorry. Is this your first run of Veilguard, or have you played it once already? Okay. Wow, that other one didn't even care that his homie got shot right in front of him. Okay, cool. Then I will not bring up other stuff, so you do not get spoils. Because I've done like 3 runs, so I just want to make sure I'm not spoiling anything for you. Hey, tasty meat on legs, come here. You're playing at your own pace. That is A-okay. Why does it keep telling me that I've got that there? Why is there an exclamation? Why? Oh yeah, if you get Twitch drops, that's where the drops will be. I would like to get the B stuff, but I'm not getting... I don't know if I'm getting them off my own stream or not. I mean, play it how you want. Oh damn, somebody's cut down everything as soon as you walk in. This is usually full of oh, there they are. I was like, this is usually full of trees. What the hell? Ooh, infected essence. I need that. What are you... Is it you? What is the question I'm trying to ask? Tell us about your rook. I'm nosy. I want to know. Not me finding butterfly beans when I don't need them. Well, I am a firm believer in not ruining things for people. Ah, nice, nice, nice. So what's their class? Human. Ooh, you're a shiny whatever you are. I'm coming to get you. They're glowing. Why are you glowing? Are you infected? I probably can't hunt you then. Nope. Dang it. Why am I finding all of the glowy ones? Dang it. Of course I'm finding glowy frogs that I can't catch. I had to make up my mind when I chose what I was doing to hunting, fishing, or bug catching. So I'm finding everything but an infected animal. Nice. I did not try to make a human rook, I realized. I just straight up went to Elf for my first run. So chat, if you are playing Palia, I'm actually asking. Oh, nice. I've got a Shadow Dragon I've been playing off and on stream. Come here. Oh, nice. See, I didn't choose bug catching, and now there's all these infected bugs everywhere. That was back to the door. That's not where I'm trying to go. Yeah, I made a rook that looks like Fenris because Bless Modders, someone already put out a mod that has his markings. So, for RP fun, I've been playing a rook that looks like Fenris. Are you an infected creature? Oh, that mod has been out. Although it's not a full body mod, the person who made it said that they might update it to cover full body. Nice. Are you infected? Yes. Come here. You went in that tree, you fucker. Come here. Ah, fuck off. Play Palia, they said. It's a chill game, they said. Ah! Well, I can't chop that one down because I don't have the essence. I don't have the right thing. Well, the having to hunt down the infected animals is turning into a thing. As you all see, I am not easily finding one. And the one Ogapu I found got away. And the Elderwood arrows are not easy to make. Because they take, pallium bars. Oh. I also pulled out an axe to mine pallium. I've not done any of the events. I actually, oh. I've seen people do the cooking thing, and that just seems like utter chaos. I see. Oh, did I miss something? Did I actually get one and miss picking up the loot? Ah. Sorry. You ever do the thing where you scratch your face and then you're surprised that there's blood? Oh, fuck off. Seriously? Ugh. Alright, fuck off. So what's everyone got going on for the weekend? Hopefully staying inside and cool. Oh, it was just wood I didn't pick up. Dang it. I probably am gonna try to go out as soon as the post office opens, because I've got a couple things to mail, and I've got to return the Pride chucks I bought because my calves are too thick. I joke, but it's actually really frustrating to buy something and then you can't wear it. Luckily, I'm still in the window to return them. Oh, that was me yesterday, KMC. I literally spent most of the day reorganizing the office in here because, oof. It was getting to the point where I could not move around. And I don't know about y'all, but clutter actually just, at least for me, the clutter got to the point of, I can't maneuver in this room, and it's not a small room. It's not like, oh, there's only a few feet of space. Fuck off! I'm not yelling at you all. I'm frustrated. That is the same Ogapoo I tried. Oh, I have a worm tooth in my inventory. Black Widow. I don't know what to do with it. My only option right now is to destroy it. I can't even put it in storage, so I don't know if that's a bug or not. I can't even put it in storage, so I don't know if that's a bug. Because I had one after I got eaten by the worm last time. Oh? I mean, same here, KMC. I was like, oh, I know I had blah, blah, blah. Why can't I find this? Oh, because my room is a literal disaster right now. Alright, chat. I am at the point where I need help finding stuff. I'm guessing no one is awake because it is early for the US. Oh my god, I've bought from Torrid before. Leave me alone. Well, it's not so much things I'm looking for. I need to find infected animals. So, like that Ogapu I was just firing at. And I can't get over there because the water's too deep. I need to find creatures with that black smoke on them. And I don't know the way to... What I don't know is... Well, the hunting horn you can make... will that identify those infected animals or just rare ones? Because I have to find infected animals. And the one that I keep finding keeps getting away, and those arrows are not... They're not easy to make. Ooh, someone's dropping a honey lure. Wonder if I can get there. A4 where? Like, I'm dropping a... You motherfucker, if you get away again, I'm gonna yell. Oh my god, I got one of you, finally. Okay. Oh, damn. Why am I all the way over here? Because my bug hunting is the one skill I don't have a lot of. So someone's dropping a honey lure. I'm in. No! If I fall off of here, I will yell. Yeah, the Elderwood is all new. No, my bags are full. No. Not my bags being full. I don't know why there's like little hearts when you try to catch some bugs. I see you, bug. Come here. Come here. I don't know why these bugs have little heart icons. Like, why? Why do you have heart icons? I'm throwing chemicals at you. I don't know what you... No, there's a tool. I have arrows to hunt infected creatures. I mean, just literally finding them. That's the thing. It's like, I'm only finding... I have only found that one Ogapoo. Bugs are like, this is a trap. Oh, I almost threw a lure. I almost threw a thing at that. I like how the bugs are all like, oh shit. Ooh, I need my bug hunting up. I also need to eat a sushi. Ooh. I see you. I don't know what these bugs are, but we're catching a lot of them. Ah, I got you. Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I'm only finding that one Ogapoo that's infected, and I finally caught it. So I may just have to go there and wait for it to respawn. And hope I can catch it. Yes, Rockhopper. I see you. Sorry if this is not... Ooh, another Rockhopper. Those are good money. Oh my god. Oh, it's worse. It's so much worse. Oh. Hey, I leveled my bug catching. Oh, I hate trying to catch the Muujin, especially when they get away from you and run up a tree. Alright, see if I can go home now. I cannot, but I may be near... No, I just hate trying to catch the Muujin because they, especially the magic ones, they're just such a pain in the ass to catch. Because they, because they split into three, they basically run up into trees, and it's just such a pain in the ass to do, and I'm like, I don't need Muujin that bad. Well, now there's magical ones because of the Elderwood. Oh, I can't climb that high. Well. And of course, somebody always asks you for Muujin. Oh, can't go up there. What the? Okay. There's some areas here where you just cannot climb, and it is so irritating. Is that platinum? It is not. I don't understand what you meant. Alright, now I can go home. Yeah, I asked in Discord, but nobody really answered, so I'm just gonna hustle. Oh my god. They're making this... Sorry, I'm having a moment. There's a Discord for the con I'm a guest at in a couple weeks, and I feel like they're just making shit difficult at this point. Oh, excuse me. Yo, I got 30 of these things. Maybe. It depends. With the heat wave, I may not be on the computer very much just because it's supposed to be a heat index of 100. This weekend, so I may not be on the computer as much. Excuse me. Because it's really supposed to be that fucking hot. Yeah, actual temps 90, heat index of over 100. And I'm like, cool, I guess I'll just die then. Because I do not do well in that kind of heat. Oh, I don't know, KMC. I honestly don't know. Some people thrive in hot weather. I am not one of those people. I've never been one of those people. Oh, I need to find more regular wood, because I don't have many logs. Nope, not selling those. Oh, of course, what's-her-face wants one of these. I will sell 4 light bulbs and no more. Oh, yeah. I can't regulate my temperature because thanks getting older and menopause. Damn, those carrots grew quick. I hate weeds in this game. I honestly do. The look? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, just both. I just don't like... I don't like that, you know, weeds exist because it just is ridiculous that they exist this prevalently. No, they just annoy me, because I'm like, damn, I just planted this. I know what you meant. Oh, good. I can put some more, Do I want to plant another apple tree? That was me thinking out loud. Oh, I don't have enough space for an apple tree anyway. Never mind. Because apple trees are 9 squares. Alright, let's take a break from the elderwood. Wow, this is really poorly planned out on my part. I'm gonna let things harvest, and then replant things. Alright. Okay, Ashra... Okay, I've actually got a catfish. While I struggle to make friends in Palia, how's everyone doing? Also, I am in the 2K streaming beta, so if there's feedback, useful, constructive feedback, not just I can't watch it in 2K, let me know in the Discord. Now comes the part where I gotta write down shit. Where's my notebook that says be gay, be cry? With you in a moment. I'm looking for something to write with. Not the notebook I wanted, but it'll do it. Alright, good luck, AMC. It's funny, I was just talking about sewing yesterday, about how I do not understand sewing. And I cannot. Of course I pick up a notebook that is from... Well, don't want to use that notebook because that is bad memories. Aha! Yeah, that's what I was saying, Game C. That I just, like, one of my friends was talking about making clothes, like legit patterning it and making it from scratch. And I just could not fathom doing that. Also, I just don't have the space to set up for sewing like that. Damn, I don't know what anyone wants this week. Paddlefish. I don't think I've even seen a paddlefish. Maybe? I've got a second desk. I just... Wow, I don't know what anyone wants this week. Jesus. That'll make taking gifts easy. What the fuck is that? I haven't even seen a desk ray. I don't even know where to find that. Like, in theory, I'd like to figure out how to make my own. Oh, Kenley wanted ramen. That's who wanted ramen. So, for those of you playing Palia, how much of the grind do you all hate? Everyone for a while wanted a fish, and I'm like, excuse me? Okay, Nayo wants to clean the catfish, which is good, because I've got like 8 of them. Also, how can I romance Nayo and or Kenyatta? Because aren't they like secretly dating each other? How are you gonna break up somebody's romance? A little of both. Because, as far as I can tell, running into them, they're secretly dating. Ah, got it. Okay. I mean, also, I called Nayo Timu Cullen, so I call him Timu Cullen. Dope. Alright, let's get items and go visit people. And also make more of these expensive ass arrows. Two people want catfish. A saber-tooth anchovy's sending me. I thought I had a silver salmon. Maybe I used it already. Oh, I can't sell that fish. Alright. Nope. Well. Oh my god, of course Sifu wants my crafting materials. Hi, Puddle. How are you? How's your day going so far? Oh, Kenley would want my ramen. Did I eat it already? Fuck, I think... Oh, no, I didn't. Haha. Of course you'd want my ramen. The one expensive thing I got. Hey, Atso. How are you? How you been? I'm currently trying to... Actually, I don't need to take that out of my inventory. I'm trying to find things that NPCs want. I have a pike. Nope, that's a bass. Well. Oh yeah, and somebody wants fish tacos, and I'm like, I gotta cook for you? Alright, let's see if I can make fish tacos, because my cooking is also abysmal. Nice. Oh yeah, I ran out of sticky bombs. Well, I didn't run out, but I ran through a lot of them. Oh, that's not what I was trying to do. I don't think I need 200 worms. Yeah, there's microtransactions, but you don't honestly have to spend money unless you really want to. Oh yeah, I put all my infected essence away. I do have more than 50, I think. I've not used the dowsing rod, and I've been hesitant to craft one because, just because they cost apples and gold, which is a very odd thing for me. Like, how am I making this out of apples and gold? I have many questions. Oh shit, I need a flow plank because I just used the one I had in my pocket. Dang it. Alright, let's see if I can make fish tacos. I also want to fight whoever made cooking a rhythm game. Wait, I can't make fish tacos? I thought I could. Fuck. What am I missing? Oh wait, what's her face wants soup. But I can only give her one, so... Nah, fuck bacon. Baking is ridiculously hard in this game. I fucked up everything I tried to bake except the stuffed cabbage rolls. And the crab pot pie, I wasted so many ingredients. I was not happy with that. Wait, why are fish tacos here? Game. Hey Donna, happy Friday, how are you? Like, I legit want to fight whoever decided to make cooking a rhythm game in here. And thank you for tier 2. I appreciate that. That was it? That's not how you make fish tacos, but okay. I have questions. I have many questions about that. You know what? I'm just not gonna ask. I'm glad you're here. Hope you're staying cool. Because it is going to be obscenely hot everywhere. Well, everywhere in the US, I should say. Oh my god. Oh, good. I don't have to look for you.
Always good to see a friendly face.
Wait, my wife? What? Hold on. Wait, my wife? Excuse me? How y'all gonna keep the Sifu had a wife? But we can't date you. I need details. Miss Scusi? Okay, no one's around because it's late. It's actually cheaper to buy that. Wow. Ooh, I could buy a harvest house. Two stories. Yo. So I have a silly question I'm actually asking. How do you get housing slots 2? Ah. Got it. See, I don't know if I want to grind that much in this game. Okay, there's this door. Damn, it's so late. Nobody's even in the bars. Oh, I can give you this catfish, though. Here.
Glad you're not too busy to stop by.
Fuck. Bro, I ain't giving you honey. It's too hard to get. Wait, can I can't buy potatoes from you, damn it. Hey Lamia. So far okay, and I'm so sorry I missed your text yesterday. I'm here. That's all I got. Alright, good luck, KMC. Be safe out there.
Great.
I actually rearranged the folders so that my texting apps are right in front. Oh, she's not here. Well, okay then. Does she stay in the Elderwood then? Oh. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, John said he'd chip in too, so I need to look and see when it's going to renew. Also have to decide if I'm going to keep the server for... no, I felt bad. I saw it this morning when I woke up because the way my apps folder on my phone is, Signal was not front and center, so I totally missed it. But I also wasn't feeling super chatty with people yesterday. Like, you know what I mean. Words are hard. And I'm streaming now because I've been awake since 5 o'clock. Because what is sleep? I was gonna text you anyway because the thing should be shipping soon. I just got an email update, and B, I was gonna ask if you still wanted the computer pieces parts.
You go on a big adventure?
Oh my god, why? Okay, just let me know. I'm not going anywhere until the con in a couple weeks, so I'll be home.
Let's go.
But my place is also not... My apartment is not in a way that I would like people to see it, so... I forgot the fertilizer for what's-her-face. Dagnabbit. Well...
You brighten my day. I hope that wasn't too corny.
You out of luck, bro. Why are people asking for shit you ain't even encountered?
Have a great day.
Well... But yeah, things are also kind of lining up for me to still go to certain cons. I just have to wait on some details before I say something publicly, but I'm hoping I can still make certain things happen. No, I'm sure no one else understands this. I'm being facetious. But it's just been a struggle to be a people lately. It's that weird, I want to be around people, but also I don't have anything cheerful to talk about, therefore I don't want to be a downer. Oh, this grumpy heifer. Oh. Oh, you just out of luck. I ain't giving you no silk. Thanks. It's the eternal struggle. Yes, I mean, a lot of it is getting out of my own headspace. I'm sure no one else understands that. And again, I'm being facetious.
Always nice to see you around.
Girl, I just brought you some wood. These are some needy ass villagers. I swear, this is worse than Animal Crossing. Oh. Oh, interesting. Interesting that the game does kind of flower language. Okay, y'all got pumpkin and shit right here. Why are you asking me for pumpkin pie? Whoops. I forgot. Oh. I have the honey stuff. Yay, I have the honey drops. Oh, question for chat, and I'll ask in Discord as well. Apparently, I'm part of the gift sub discount beta. So I can set discount promotions for up to 70 hours a year. Let's see what this happens. So, I don't know how it works, but let's see what happens. Ooh, we almost had an echo. Oh, it's right there. I set it for 12 hours. Let's see if it actually works. And also, I know the fan is making noise, but it's about to be 90 degrees here. So, not at all sorry. Yay. Apparently I'm in this beta, so I guess we can try it. Oh, that was not worth doing. Oh, sure, if you want. I got into it yesterday. I wasn't sure how to set it up. Oh my god. Girl, what? Hopefully this is not too boring watching me run around and give the NPCs gifts. Oh, I'm sorry, Puddle. It's only 7-ish here, but I think my plan is to get to the post office right when they open, mail this stuff, go to UPS, and then bring my ass home, and maybe stop at the store. Also, don't Palians believe in locks? Like, y'all ain't got a single lock, doors just left open all day. You know, I've never actually come into Zeki's house, I realized.
It's been a second, pal.
Bro, y'all ain't getting no silk. Silk costs way too much. Hey, Pete. Damn. He just straight up said, don't come to me crying. Okay, so he's got all this Capital furniture. Oh, damn. Okay. This is a new idea, though. I did not think about setting up the kitchen like this. Dude, you have left fish just sitting here? I'm sorry. I have opinions. Okay, the Capital set is better than I thought now that I see it. Also, you got sushi just sitting out. Why I gotta bring you fish tacos? I have questions. I have many questions. Why I'm bringing you fish tacos? Oh yeah, I need regular wood. How are you, Pete? Pete, I forget, did you say you were not coming to PAX West this year? Got it. No, I feel you. I'm only able to go because of certain work/contract where I do consulting means my hotel gets covered. Otherwise, I couldn't go. There's absolutely no way I could go. Oh, I went in Zeki's store and forgot to cash in my... Gotcha. No, I got you. Like I said, for me, if I don't panel, I don't go to cons. It's one thing I try to talk about, and I know Lamia's heard me talk about this, where people will make the comment, oh my god, you get to go to so much stuff, it must be fun, and I'm like, I don't go to cons just to go. I don't know about y'all, but when I go to a con, it's to do panels or to otherwise work. I don't go to cons just to go. Alright, now let's go find Wrath. And I don't know, that is the thing that consistently annoys me with people, is that they're like, oh, well, you get to go to cons all the time, that must be so fun. I'm like, I guess. Cost and just... I wish people would stop equating getting to go to the con with treating it like, oh, you get to go have all this fun, you get to go to do whatever. When you are working conventions, that shit's exhausting. You are not there just to...
Come to hear me talk.
Bro, you ain't getting no potato fries. You out of luck. Okay, and for some people, if that's your bag, enjoy, but that's not my bag to just go to go.
Man, I need to catch you quick, man.
Bro, why are you like this? Actually, Not the mayor being asleep in City Hall. Right? I don't know, it's something I've always encountered when I talk about going to cons, or, you know, when I was self-employed, and people would be like, oh my god, you go to all these cons, it must be so much fun, and I'm like, y'all, that shit's expensive. Like, I am not out here just chilling like y'all seem to think.
Finally, someone nice to talk to.
You can pay me any amount of money to be a flight attendant. Oh, wait, he has an exclamation now?
Wonderful to see you again.
I mean, even pre-COVID, the amount of entitlement I've seen from travelers, I think the worst I've seen is someone who threw an actual fit at the gate. And this was pre-COVID travel. My partner and I went to Hawaii ages ago. And we know how to travel, so we got there early. Some guy they'd been paging for like 20 minutes showed up. Flight was gone. They only hold the plane so long. I'm not evicting these people. This man threw an entire fucking stroke. At the gate because he missed being paged. He missed it. We're sitting there at the gate hearing this dude get paged. And hey, Miu. Look, we were just watching this dude because we were sitting at the gate because we got there like an hour and a half early because there is no direct way to get to Hawaii, at least not from Chicago. And the way that this man threw an entire hissy fit when it was his fault that he missed his flight, and he was screaming at these people like it was somehow their fault. It was like one of those things where you had to like watch it to believe it. Cause you're like, there's no way this man is sitting here doing this. Where I think he had been at the gate and then wandered off or was somewhere else because the gate was not near like any restaurants or anything. So if you wanted to eat, you honestly had to kind of leave the gate area, but you didn't have to go that fucking far. Like there was no reason to believe this dude had to go that fucking far away, you know? somebody wanted oysters, and I can't remember who. Look, I mean, Lamia's seen me at the airport. I'm one of those people where I'm like, oh, can't. Need to move the thing on the wall. What's in the way? Oh, that backpack. Oh my god, just let me decorate. Jesus Christ. Look. I am one of those people where I get real anxious about travel. I've only missed a flight. Actually, I've never missed a flight if it was something where I had control over what to do. This is the cutest fucking chair. I can't believe it. I mean, sometimes things are out of your control. Like, I was in Atlanta and got caught in traffic. Oh, that's a big planner. And almost missed my flight, but that was due to a force outside my control. It was traffic. Look, I did almost miss a flight at Southwest because it was a red eye, and I fell asleep at the gate because the flight wasn't leaving until like 10 o'clock at night. Oh, you can only put 30 cotton in there. Okay, good to know. I've got... Yes, Mandy. Hi, good morning. How are you? And with the Atlanta trip, I was that person, like in the movies, running to the fucking gate. Okay, we need more. And then I had the misfortune of sitting to some dude that they should have cut off. Like, they should have cut this dude off well before he got on the plane. And then they served him again. Yay, that is a blessing. I miss those days. I'm sorry, this isn't super exciting. I am trying to deliver gifts to the Palians. Because I'm tired of these people and their lack of relationships. People also keep asking me for shit I ain't got. Like, I would like pumpkin pie. Oh no. But yeah, that was one of those flights where I was like, there is no God. I'm cursing all of you. I hate this. I couldn't sleep, so we are up with head empty hours. So happy Friday, y'all. Also, Mandy, I hope you and Susie are keeping cool. And because I'm a terrible person and try to get you to not say Susie's name, let me know what charity I should donate to. I have one meeting for our game jam. I actually wrote something yesterday. I feel like I need a cookie or a gold star since I can't really have cookies. Oh no, your redeem is only for 5 minutes. You were fine. Look, the number of times I have deserved a gold star this week for not hopping into you ever see conversations and you're just like, that's I'm just gonna not. And I'm like, y'all, I deserve a fucking gold star today because, ooh. There are just sometimes you see conversations and you're like, you know what? I'm going to maintain my peace and not say what I'm thinking. Because sometimes there are people where you just see it and you're like, I'm gonna stay over here. Now what's funny is I would never be a farmer in real life. I am not good at farming. I'm not good at things like this. Oh, how is Baboon? For those that don't know, Mew's a photographer and they often share really cool pics of their doggo. That looks like a cryptid in the best way. I'm concerned that there's always something to grill on here. I have so many concerns. Oh yeah, happy midsummer. really wish it was this simple to just throw some fish on the grill. And have a perfectly grilled fish. But also, Mandy, I stole something from your page and added the command for 5 calls. So if someone wants to do exclamation 5 calls, it is an easy way to contact your elected officials and let them know you're not happy with the fuckery currently happening. It gives you a script. Which I need to make time to do today.
There's a thin line separating oddity from genius. Don't be afraid to pull the thread and see.
I suppose I can take a break for a bit.
Oh, do you have a link to Resist Bot? Because I do not have that. Girl, you didn't get no vampire crab. That shit was hard to find.
Glad you settled here. Are you having a good day?
I literally talked to you 2 seconds ago.
Annie looks up to you.
Thank you.
Set an example now.
Mandy, if you can, or someone, can you give me a to-do to make a command for Resist Bot to go with 5 calls? Okay, I need to know why I'm running errands for everyone in this fucking town right now. Like, literally, it's 2 feet away. Go talk to these people.
Oh, good. It's just you.
Oh my god.
These chats of ours always...
You can't be bothered to search your own fucking records. Are you seriousing me? I'm sorry. Bye, Puddle. Stay cool. Hope all goes well as it can. Okay, how... You know what? I'm gonna let that go.
I have always
Dude,
done
this was
fine.
literally where you left it. Yes, because you're annoying. I said that out loud, didn't I?
Can I trouble you for a moment? You take care now.
This doofus.
Life is all about balance.
Okay, everybody wants expensive shit now.
Feel free to return anytime.
So I have a question, so we can also have a chat topic. In games like this, where they give you a quest, and you are literally feet from where the quest issuer is, and where the quest resolution item is, does it annoy you? Because I'm like, you could have turned your head and looked down the road, and it's there. I'm like, I could have done, you could have like literally done this faster than waiting around for me to do it. Who's a good pupper?
Speak your business.
Hey, Mur. I don't have the hide. Fuck. Thanks, Mur. How are you? Also, I want to say it's above my head, but I'm not on camera.
That's enough.
We are still raising money for Advocates for Trans Equality. Exclamation Charity will give you the link. Well done, Mur. I want to run again, but my knees have said lol no often. Wait, can I buy hide here? I can. I wonder if the NPCs care. Thank you, Mandy. If you buy a thing versus hunt it yourself.
Speak your business.
Bro, I'm trying to be nice to you. Wow, question mark,
Wasn't so
friend.
bad, I suppose.
Or you all throw a topic out. Because I am full of insomnia hours. I don't have a lot of topics. And we can talk about current events. Just know that that will get you ranting, Tanya.
Awaiting input.
Because, oh boy.
My friend.
If you have a complaint, take it elsewhere.
Because let me tell you, you know, seeing the ways in which people's rights are being dismantled and then having people act as if leaving the U.S. is an option. I have had so many moments over the last few days where I wanted to shake people and go, cool, you could leave. Good for you. You do know that it's not an escape. Other countries are just as fucked up, if not more.
You distract me from that breakdown I'm about to have.
Girl, what?
These books aren't going to read themselves.
Right? A lot of countries do not want random Americans just showing up. And because a friend moved, because they have, an important note, they have dual citizenship. So they were able to just up and leave for Germany. And I don't think they, and they kept doing the thing of, oh, well, you should just leave. You should just leave. Cool. You had the fiscal privilege. You had the dual citizenship. I can't take my black ass to some random country and show up. I need a work visa. And that means leaving everyone I know, my partner, everything. Because you can't, it costs more to ship stuff overseas than to just replace it. Literally, it would cost more to ship everything that I would want to keep than to replace it. And I need people to understand this. Because they're always so quick to go, oh, well, just move. And I'm like, with what money? With what visa? With what job? So there's a lot of jobs listed. Right, like right now, there's a lot of game dev jobs listed outside the U.S. However, I'd have to leave the country and everyone I know. And with how volatile the game industry is, you could not pay me to take a job outside the state, let alone outside the country. Yeah, because a lot of friends that have ADHD or autism or physical disability are like, they just straight up say they don't want disabled people. And I'm like, how do you all not know this? Hey, Jinx. Happy Friday. Yes, Grumpy Cypher mode is engaged. Oh, I threw that at a spring onion. Good job, me. It has been a week and a half. That is a bag to catch bugs. So the conceit of Palia, and this is one thing I'm not the biggest fan of, is there's no economy to speak of. Like, let's say we were playing, there's no way for me to, like, just give you gold or something. Like, the in-game gold, not other stuff. And you have to grind and hustle your skills. I mean, the game kind of makes you progress, like, oh, I've got to cook, I've got to make furniture, I've got to do whatever, I've got to farm. But I'm at a point now where I can one-shot common animals. I mean, it's okay. It's become my kind of head empty, just run around aimlessly game. I guess a bit. I don't remember the net. Because I tried it pre-release. Well, I don't want to say pre-release. I tried it when it still had its own launcher. But like right now, hunting, at least in the starting town, is very easy. But, like, I have to grind and hustle my skills to advance. I can't just, like, go, oh, you need 10,000 gold for a thing? Here's 10,000 gold in exchange for maybe rare item you got but can't use yet. And there are still weird things that happen. Like, there's still a bug where I can't give a certain NPC a gift from a certain region. If I try to give him a gift from that region, the game freezes up and I have to restart. Which is very annoying. And apparently the bug's been around for a while.
Not a lot of folks come around these parts.
Hey, Tori, how are you?
You're still here, huh?
Wow, well, fuck you too. Yeah, I'm basically trying to, get through the story, but the story was frustrating me a little bit.
Not a lot of mountain spots.
But yes, back to current events. I'm just annoyed because people just
We can talk later.
people just don't think, and it annoys me. Like just you know, leave the country, and I'm like, cool, with that imaginary thousands of dollars I've got that I can spare. Also, one moment, it is meds o'clock. Go take your meds, have some water, have breakfast, or lunch, or dinner, depending on where you are in the world. Alright, I have done the meds. Alright, where was I going? I've talked to Hadari. That's right, Tamala. Oh no, she's not in the Elderwood. Right? If you stand still too long, it's just like, well, I'm gonna lay down. And I'm like, little friendo, I understand you on a spiritual level. Also, for anyone who's playing Palia, has anyone figured out what platinum's for? Because I've gathered some platinum. I have not come across anything to use it. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's there for. Oh, hey, a crab. Come here. Oh, and Murd, this is a weird thing. Crabs, catching crabs and frogs counts as catching bugs. Hey, sparkly little crab, I see you. Oh no, my inventory's full. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's there for. I've only found it in the Elderwood, so maybe I just haven't hit a beat where you use it. You're not iron. The bugs always have a little frighten and it cracks me up.
Watch your step. These woods are not the safest.
Did I not What did I do with the... Well, fuck. Oh, okay.
Get home safe, won't you?
Alright, so I have a confuse. I also don't know why I've suddenly got a blueberry pie. I thought I had... Well, shit. And I probably shouldn't go to the Elderwood with my bags full. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've got a little platinum. I've only really found it when I've used the ore finder thing. Okay, Hessian's on my plot, but I can't see him, so I need to leave and come back. I mean, I don't know. I've only found some in the new area, but I've not encountered anyone who's asked me to get platinum. I have the option to make platinum bars, but that's it. Where are you? So this bug is happening again where people are on your plot, but you cannot see them. They're like under the map for some reason. Who wanted oyster meat? I don't think I've found a heart drop lily now that I found mention of it in the game. Yeah, I actually haven't found a heart drop lily. Well. Oh, Clary wanted a sun drop lily, I guess. Nah, y'all can't have silk. It costs too much to make. Hey, Sloozy, how are you? See, I've got 3 pieces of platinum. And I legit don't know what to do with it. Oh, there you are. Okay. So far, so good. I just hope it's not boring watching me run around and do stuff. Oh, I've got his key.
I assume I'll see you again.
Aha, I got your store before you left. Like, that's nice. Been going all the way back to Elderwood. It's alright. It's just, it's my kind of head empty space, and I'm just kind of running around before I decide to get out of here. And I mean, there's an errands part, but this game is almost all errands. You know? Sorry, I was just checking something. Also, are you all staying hydrated? Because it is really hot today. In the US, at least where I'm at, I've got a high heat warning. Oh, and Lamia, I've got the 5 calls command. I need a resist bot command. So exclamation 5 calls for those of you in the US. It will give you a link to 5calls.org and a way to make calls and a script. And if calling is not your thing, then resist bot will help. Mandy dropped the link earlier, but I need to make a command. Yeah, so exclamation the number 5 and calls will get you 5 calls. Oh, be careful out there, Tori, because it is so fucking hot. Like, I need to go out and mail stuff, so my plan is to probably stop in about an hour, go to the post office, go to UPS, and then keep my ass inside the rest of the day. Because, oof, the weather's gonna be disgusting.
Watch your step. These woods are not the safest.
Because I'm sure also the tired is going to hit me like at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to have to do everything in my power to not just go lie down. Because this kind of weather, for I don't know about you all, but this kind of heat triggers migraines for me. And I may wind up sitting in a dark room by myself. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to just get out early as I can. You know, assuming that the post office is actually open, this sounds bad, but my post office is terrible for being timely. Like, literally, I have gone there to be there when they open at 9, or even 8:30. And oh, I missed my turn entirely. And I kid you not, by the time we finally got into the post office, they were like, they got in and said they couldn't find the key to unlock the door. And I'm like, isn't that a fire hazard? Like, how are y'all in here unable to unlock the door to the post office? I have questions. I have so many questions. My post office is not the best post office. There have been times where I'm just like, I feel like I would do better going all the way downtown than to go to my local post office. Oh, my post office is not great, which is why it takes me forever to mail stuff. Because the post office that's closest to me, I can actually walk to. Not in 90-degree heat, but I can. I'm looking up a place to look in the Elderwood for infected creatures because I'm tired of looking for them. Oh, sorry if you hear that. I just realized a truck was outside. That's not... This doesn't tell me anything. Alright, I have a question because according to the guides I'm reading, once you get these arrows, it's supposed to... The quest is supposed to stop or be done. I have so many questions. Well, I guess I'm going back to the marsh because that's the only place I've seen infected creatures. Well. Oh, you're not infected. You get to live. Leave me alone. An infected Ogapoo. Fuck you! Of course, I find all the infected frogs. I do not like this whole rummaging around in the slime. Ooh, a magical Ogapoo! Fuck off! You left... Ah! Why is a rare Ogapoo right there? Anyway, how's everyone doing? I know I keep yelling fuck off, but it's annoying to loot. Donna! Oh my god. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, rebuilding. Because for those that don't know, the studio I worked at closed in February. And I am still job hunting. Because the games industry is dry as dry can be in terms of jobs. So, for those doing the math, that is laid off in late February, and it's about to be July and still no job. And this isn't a, oh, poor me, just throw money at me. This is just the state of the world. Because it sucks. Why do you have... Alright, I know this may be a little boring. I'm just running around looking for one more infected creature. And again, if someone's playing Palia and has a good idea of where to find infected creatures, speak. This is the time to speak now and not hold your peace. Ooh. What? Another Ogapoo! Come back here! Ah, damn, they got that one. Well. Well. Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of your support over the years. I feel like I don't tell you that enough. And so, yeah. Life has been life. And are you infected? You're infected. Bless. Oh, I was right at the entrance. I did not see any. Also, Muujin are the worst fucking things in this game to hunt. Because they split into 3 and then run into trees. But I just got my 3, and I've got some infected essence. Let's go in the deep woods. Well, I just got the 3 creatures I need. Now I just need to find more infected essence, or just go back to my house. Because I've got plenty at my house, which I think I'm just going to do. And I might get back on later with Dune. But again, with the way the heat is, I'm not sold on being at a computer all day. Oh, I turned on a light somehow. Well, it actually is kind of dark in here. Well. Somebody wanted oyster meat, and I don't remember who. I'm just picking it up when I see it. I haven't specifically been looking for it. Honestly, all the infected essence I've got, I've found randomly just walking around. The few guides I've looked up have said, that area with the red flowers, that part with like all the red flowers is a good place to get it. I mean, the storyline part of it actually almost made me stop playing because of how difficult some of the temples are. Hey, 7. Like, the Wind Temple literally made me stop playing for a few days. Because I couldn't find anything. I got really frustrated. And I'm actually letting everything grow and be harvested. Because I don't like the current layout of how the farm is. I know I'm being weird and persnickety. Oh, that's more apple jam. Wait, that's the one I just clicked on. Yep, that's taters. Although I can't say that I would want pickled potatoes. Let's be real. I'll go 7. Happy Friday. Alright, let's see if there's any other gifts we can bring people. Oh, Ashura wants honey, I guess. Audrey, you're asking for shit I ain't got. Oh. Ooh, Delilah wants the... I have literally one of those. Good. I've not encountered a paddlefish. You ain't getting my silk. Oh, that's all you want is a Cernocide. Gel out here asking for shit no one's seen. Oh, you just want grilled fish? I can do that. Hi, Lalilu. Okay, I've got clay. Breath, you ain't getting these potatoes. I have literally 2 flotatoes. You cannot have that. And I only have 1 Proudhorn Sarnuk antler. I can't romance you? Absolutely not. Oh, you wanted a plank. Oh, you wanted an unopened oyster. Fuck off. Why are these people asking for shit that I have not even run into? It feels like you would just not have anything left by the time they should have pickled. You know? Because potatoes are not the hardiest things in the world. No, they're asking for like these rare fish, and I'm like, no. I just feel like the texture of pickled potatoes, if pickling potatoes didn't mean they disintegrate, would just not work out. The fuck does Zeki want? Hey, Broken Seals, how are you? How are you, Zeki? Not for 900, you're not.
Don't you just love the wind in the valley?
Bless.
Come by anytime.
That's right, Badri wants something I can't even make yet.
I guess I can take a little break. Illicit magic doesn't smuggle itself. Yet.
Hey, Flyceratops. Alright. Where's everyone that I'm looking for? The fuck are you? I was just in here. Where are you, Flyceratops? Oh, you're up here playing cards. That's where you are.
We have much to discuss.
I'm here.
May your aim be true.
This is gonna be such a great day. Take me on your next adventure.
No. Ooh, I'm okay. I need to get out and run errands, so I'm gonna stop soonish so I can get errands out of the way before we have the horrible heat that's expected.
Welcome, Phoenix's child.
The weather it's supposed to feel like over 100 by midday.
I need to clear my mind.
Oh wait, Ashura wanted honey, and he's right there. Good.
Come now, let's catch up.
I cannot give him another gift. Chicago is built for that. We have air conditioning. We have infrastructure. No place is meant for 100-degree weather.
Don't forget to visit.
But we have air conditioning inside. The trains have air conditioning. Our trains have air conditioning. I mean, in general, no place is made for 100-degree weather. Even people that live in areas that get 100-degree weather are not. Oh, I'm sure. I need someone to come over and help me with mine, because it is in storage, and getting up 2 flights of stairs is a whole lot.
Stop learning. Remember, I always watch.
Wait, Sleazy, are you local? To me, I mean. Ah, okay. I was like, wait, how did I not know you were local?
Another chance for great discovery. Hope to come back soon.
Okay. Enough of this. I need to run around and go back to the Elderwood, and then I'll call it. Because again, I want to do my errands before it is really hot. Food. Come back and tell us what's food. I'm nosy. Oh, where's what's-her-face? Oh, I couldn't give her another thing. I probably can't give... Oh, where's Farm Boy? He wanted the fish. Aha, there you are.
Looks like a great harvest this year. Huh. Huh?
When is your creature up here at my house?
There's so much work to do.
Oh yeah, I don't have a silver salmon for the doggo. Yeah, I mean, we've got air conditioning and heating on our train, so... Oh, I forgot to... I couldn't give him the... Do you want wood or the plank? Oh no, he wanted the raw wood. Okay. Right? That's why I said I'm trying to get out of here. Oh, it's disgusting. Alright, let's go give people gifts, and then I'm gonna get dressed and get the hell out of here. Because I am trying not to be outside in 100-degree weather. Because screw that. The plan is post office UPS or UPS post office store. Or maybe post office UPS store because it's actually easier for me to go to the grocery store after the UPS. And luckily UPS is just a drop off. Sadly, I bought the extra high Pride Chucks. Sadly, my calves were too much for it. I literally can't lace them up. But luckily I'm in the window to return them. And Converse makes it easy for them to be returned. And I've lived here my whole fucking life, too, so... And while I... Like, this is the weather where, I feel like this is the weather where people should dress as little as they want. And... Welcome back, Seven. And if people don't like the fact that folks are dressing to be comfortable, y'all can fuck all the way off. This is the weather of be glad people actually have on clothes. As far as I'm concerned. Oh. Um, damn it. Well. Wow, they didn't even acknowledge that. I ain't doing all this. This one's probably minding her business. I really need this game to stop forcing the find your ship thing. on you. While I am searching for things in this game, how's everyone doing?
You want to hear another story?
Hey, Gavin.
See you later.
All right. So what's everyone got going on this weekend? Oh, that's right, I can't. God damn it. Oh, bless little potato. Hey, Catherine. Thank you for the resub. How are you? Oh, were you able to get any Final Fantasy cards? I'm seriously debating if I want to spend the money on one play booster pack. They're so fucking expensive. Nice. Ooh, platinum. Hadn't planned on finding that. Oh yeah. So the only thing I haven't gotten yet is the bundle. Well, it hasn't arrived. So I pre-ordered all this stuff before we knew what was happening with the job. And oh, I know what's over here now. Haha. I know exactly what's over there. But for whatever reason, that isn't arriving until the 30th. So I pre-ordered a bunch of cards before we knew we were getting laid off and closed, etc., etc. And so I kept my pre-order once I saw how much they were selling out. Because right now you can't even find I don't remember ever getting free packs, but maybe if you bought them in a store. But online pre-orders, I have never gotten anything extra for free. Hey, Zero. I'm, yeah, I usually don't buy the cards in person. I usually just I usually just, order online. Happy Friday, Zero. Zero, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're coming back to stream today, yeah? Do you know what time? Well, I am gonna end soon, but I wanna, if I can, I wanna be around.
What a pleasant surprise.
Okay, hopefully I'll be back. Because I'm trying to go out and run errands before it gets too hot. What? Okay, this is gonna irritate me. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think my store has anything. I keep checking the website and they just have individual cards listed. What? Maybe, do I need a pickaxe? Are you seriousing me right now? Okay, this is getting irritating. Alright, I'm actually asking, does anyone know how to... I do have something to suppress its aura. I took their potion. I just tried the watering can. I'm using the watering can. Nothing's happening. What? Oh my god! Alright, thank you. That's absolutely not obvious. Game, I need you. Like, what if you're someone who doesn't run around with your tools always in your hotbar, unless they're always equipped? Seriously? I guess your tools are always equipped. What? Okay, that's where I just came from. Ah. Wait, where's this kid at? Oh, also, refill the water can. That's like... Okay, did I miss saving? Okay. Oh, am I stuck now? What the f... What the... Okay. Guess I gotta jump down there. Okay, that's where I just was. Fuck. Ah. Oh my god, are you all serious? Me, I'm going to stop so I can get out of here. Also me, the game has trapped me. What? Okay, this game is now going to officially get on my last nerve. What? Okay. I may leave this alone because now I'm just getting irritated. Okay, I'm actually asking for help, y'all. So it looks like I should go down in that way, but then I get tricked. And if I can't figure it out, I may just call it because, oof. Y'all are having a whole conversation without me. That's fine, Kesabit. I'm getting to a point where I'm getting frustrated. And honestly, I should get out of here before the heat gets real bad. So... yeah, and I'm just getting a little frustrated, so I may just come back to it after I run my errands. Yeah, that part I understand, Tori. It's just where to go to get down to this kid. That is the thing. Like, which way do I go? Going that way didn't get me anything. Going that way didn't get me anything. Like, I literally don't know where else to go. And that is not getting me anywhere. I got the water can thing. It's just literally where do I go? And this has just brought me back to the beginning. So you know what? I'm going to call it here because I'm getting frustrated. I can't figure this out. And I should go run my errands before it gets super hot today. So with that, we're going to go find someone to raid. If I've got any mods present. If you have a raid suggestion, otherwise I'm just going to find somebody. Jinx is on. Psyche's on. See who else is on. Toph is on. Oh, I will. That's why I'm trying to get out of here earlier than not. You're welcome, Dino. I might come back later with Dune. I'm gonna play Dune. I just don't know whether or not I'll stream it. Because with this weather, I am not going anywhere. Oh, Paper Stained Ink is on. Yeah, I never get to raid Paper Stained Ink, so let's raid them. They've only got a couple people. And then I may be back after a couple meetings. And then Zero's back on today for Artificer Chat in a couple hours. So if I don't stream today, more today, I will try to be on tomorrow. So if you're a sub, use the hi emote. If you're not a sub, use a hi howdy emote. Please stay hydrated. Please stay careful out there. It is ridiculously hot in the US and I know also in the UK. So please be safe. Don't go out unless you have to. Get a fan, get an AC if you don't have one, or if you can, get one. And if I don't see you all later today, I will be on at some point tomorrow. I know Chris won't be on because he's at MagicCon, so I might hop on when he is normally on. Chris being Painting Pirate. So, see y'all later. Bye, y'all.